Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for joining me. We are getting into some more reaction content today, so we are going to be jumping into the Halo Wars 2 cutscenes. I'm very excited for this. I wanted to make sure that I got as much context and information going into Halo Infinite as I could, and you guys very much recommended that I check out Halo Wars at least 2, if not also 1. Now, I am not going to be playing Halo Wars 1 and 2. I don't think yet. I might get around to them eventually. I'm not familiar with RTS games. I think that the Halo Wars games might be kind of a good entry into that genre, but I'm gonna actually save them until at least after Halo Infinite because I want to complete the trilogy. I want to kind of see the end of the main series first before I get into these spin-offs. And based off of my research, that seems to be what Halo Wars 1 is, at least, and Halo Wars 2 by some extent. Um, so in looking this up, I actually looked at the Halo Wars 1 cutscenes first. I wasn't really understanding of I wasn't sure about the sequence of the timeline with this. So it turns out Halo Wars is actually a prequel to both Combat Evolved and Halo Reach. It's like 20 years before the events of either of those games. Which isn't there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm looking for information based specifically around the time of Halo 5 and Halo Infinite, which Halo Wars 2 is placed squarely in between those. So I figured that would be more prudent than to actually look into that. I did also kind of read a synopsis of Halo Wars 1. Apparently the characters and some of the stuff going on with it is important to understanding Halo Wars 2, which then I need to understand Halo Infinite. So the background of it apparently is that there was this ship. It's called the Spirit of Fire. It was, it was kind of one of the better ships at the time of the Halo universe. Obviously, being 20 years before Combat Evolved and all that. I don't know how it compares to like the Pillar of Autumn, but you had a cast of characters on there. You had Captain Cutters or something like that. You had Professor Anders, and you had this guy Forge, and they were doing this mission related to some Forerunner technology or something like that. I don't really understand the whole story exactly. Not a lot of it is important related to the events that I'm looking for. I'm not saying it's not interesting, but I didn't pay too much attention outside of kind of the basic gist and the characters because I needed to know them getting into these cutscenes. So skimming over this, what I garner from what I'm going to be watching here with these cutscenes. So this actually takes place 28 years later after Halo Wars 1 and like immediately after the events of Halo 5. And they're going to get into it more, but basically what ended up happening is at the end of Halo Wars 1, they went into like, what is it? They went to cryo sleep or whatever, and then their ship was just kind of drifting along, and then now it's going to be activated again and leading into the events of Halo Wars 2, which is a fine setup. We've kind of seen we've seen that before, actually. That was kind of the lead in from Halo 3 into Halo 4. So it'll be interesting to see these characters' reactions and stuff to that. Another thing with this is supposed to give context to this new faction called the Banished. Now, I don't know anything about them other than the fact that it's Covenant and it's related to the Brutes. I don't know if this is going to get into it more. I'm kind of hoping it does because apparently they have some influence on Halo Infinite more directly. And so understanding more about them and what's going on with that might help with the next game. I don't know how Halo Wars 2 is going to handle it. I don't think I've heard of them outside of the context of this game. I don't recall any mention in the other games I played, Halo 5 and all that other shit. I don't recall them ever being mentioned. So maybe this is something they made specifically for this game, and then they just said, might as well keep it going in Halo Infinite. I'm not really sure. So that'll be interesting as well, how it handles that. So what this cutscene compilation is it's actually the Halo Wars cutscenes themselves, right? Halo Wars 2 cutscenes. And then it's also some in-game sequences as well that give some dialogue that might help give some context regarding the cutscenes. And somebody in the comments mentioned that might be important, and they actually recommended I play Halo Wars 2. I'm not going to do that yet, but hopefully this compilation then will kind of give me the best of both worlds. I am going to skim through it a little bit, so if you see some cuts, it's because I'm skipping over some stuff that I didn't really think was like that important. But I think I can get the gist of it. It's an hour and a half long video, so I'm not going to read all of it. But shout out to Gamers Little Playground It's their video. Go give them a like. I'll leave it down below in the description. But with all that being said, let's jump into it, guys. All right, here we go. Lost with all hands, 28 years. Okay, yep.
Captain, wake up. Something has happened.
Oh, now what?
Spirit of Fire is in a situation
Yeah, so, okay, Forge, yeah, he didn't make it.
I'm certain Professor Anders would enjoy that little admission. So let's keep it between us, shall we?
Sure.
We've been adrift for just over 28 years. I made quite a few repairs while you were sleeping. So ship systems are 100%. Cryo worked well, and med stats on all remaining crew are green. As for me, well, regulations are clear about final dispensation at the end of an AI's 7-year lifespan. I took care of my own arrangements rather than wake you. I didn't want to, well...
Didn't want him to see it. Yeah, so this was the AI in the first game.
It was a pleasure and
Serena or something like that.
Do look after everyone for me, would you?
That's pretty
Goodbye,
sad.
Captain. Serena out.
Yeah, Serena. Okay. Well, geez, that's a hell of a message to wake up to, huh? I so long, Captain, I took care of myself so you didn't have to watch my demise. Tragic.
I'll need to get down there. Immediately, of course.
Good morning to you too, Professor.
I'm sorry, Captain. It's good to see you too. But just look at it.
What is it? And where are we?
No idea. Our astronavigation system kept...
The fuck you mean you don't know? How am I supposed to know that?
We didn't drift out of the galaxy in 28 years, Professor. Since records show we arrived via slip space less than an hour ago.
Our slip space drive is gone. However we got here, it wasn't us who initiated the trip. Something down there must have opened the portal from this end and pulled us in.
Captain Cutter, sir, we received a signal from the surface. It's UNSC.
Signal to my location, Lieutenant. Let's hear what they have to say.
I'm sorry, Captain, I can't play it for you, sir. The message has an encryption scheme we haven't seen before.
Security measures would advance without us. But it is coming through.
Oh, that's... I was thinking about... Okay, yeah. That's right.
This is good. When we left, the war wasn't going well. The signal means the UNSC's still fighting, or maybe we even won. What's the source of the transmission?
We don't have the surface details yet, sir. Something down there is blocking our scans, and without Serena...
We'll have to go down there ourselves, hence the rest of the game.
Have a rough location. Should be simple enough to triangulate once we pick up the signal from the ground.
Cutter to Jerome.
Reporting, Captain.
Prep Spartan Red Team and a small recon squad. Professor
Red
Anders
Team.
will send you the coordinates.
Wait a minute. Wasn't that another show? Red Team and Blue Team?
Travel light.
Roger that, yes. Recon only.
28 years, Professor. Let's see what kind of galaxy we woke up to.
Hmm.
Henry Lamb Research Outpost. Spirit of Fire, we're outside. Base looks clear from out here. Let's see who's been calling.
Okay, so the gameplay was like doing some recon stuff. Now they're at this base.
Pile the table, 10 o'clock.
Oh,
Spartans, thank God. We have to get out of here.
Identify.
Isabel, UNSC Logistics, Arc Research Outpost.
Isabel, where are the survivors? What's the strength of the Covenant force here?
Covenant? No, why would... Listen, you're in incredible danger.
well, maybe explain some shit.
What was that?
It's him.
You're coming with us.
Nope. Ooh. Oh, what is he? He's crushing him. Holy shit. Now, maybe they don't have as advanced armor, though. I guess I should consider this. These are like older Spartans, then? Or older models? Oh, he even lost his goddamn helmet. Jesus.
As I suspected. Nothing but a man.
Red Team Leader, this is Recon 1. You have multiple hostiles approaching your location.
Alice. We're leaving.
Why did he just... What? Ooh.
Little demon.
Command.
Oh, that's...
Red Team. We have a Spartan
Jesus.
casualty.
Hunt them down.
Immediate evac requested.
Find out where they came from.
Douglas, stay with me.
And bring me back anything
Douglas!
useful.
Now, here's what is exciting about this, and I know that they're returning for Halo Infinite, is the brutes. Now, I don't know where they've been this whole time. But they're such a fascinating enemy. And I miss that they haven't been included. I think there's something really to that, especially the dynamic between the elites and the brutes. And, you know, all that happened with Halo 2 and 3. Like, that was such a fascinating dynamic. But getting rid of them, I think there's something that's missing then from Halo by not having them now. They were just so well done, like as an enemy type. Although this is weird. Why are the elites and the brutes here then? You know what? Fuck it. It doesn't matter. I'm sure they, I'm sure that they're fine working together in this context. I guess that's what the Banished is. It's just not the same as the Covenant.
He's gone.
Don't you believe it, Isabel? We're on board, pilot. Let's go.
We have a medical team standing by for Douglas, Jerome. I want a full report from you and that AI as soon as you get back to the Spirit of Fire.
Huh.
Alice is MIA. She'll stay silent down there until she has a good shot at getting back to us.
Sir? Isabel, this is Captain Cutter.
I know who you are. James Cutter. Captain of the Spirit of Fire. You're supposed to be lost with all hands.
Not so lost.
Sorry to disappoint,
What happened down there? I need to know what we're up against.
bitch. What do you want me to say?
Isabel, report.
Sir, 5 months ago, the portal from the Ark to Earth shut down without warning. A month later, He arrived.
I didn't realize that shit was still going on. If this is after Halo 5,
The brute,
uh,
their leader. His name is Atriox.
that's menacing. So, what's interesting between all this shit is the Ark having that come back. We'll talk about it in a second, though. Let me listen to
dying
this.
in battle would speed their holy journey. 40 at a time, they carelessly sent them in. 40 to break the front lines. 40 to die for beliefs not their own. None ever returned.
Except him.
Until he did. And so battle by battle, war by war, 39 brothers at a time,
And he always came back.
Atriox was born.
Okay.
With every victory, his legend and his hatred of the Covenant grew.
Okay.
Eventually, both were impossible to conceal. And they tried to banish him.
Hence the
And
name of the
everything we know
Banished.
about the Covenant's
Fascinating.
1,000-year history. Atriox was the first to defy the Covenant
And
and
still,
survive.
yeah, and still be alive. Unbelievable. So this must have happened before, perhaps, the events of Halo 3?
Defiance inspired others.
Because, you know, the Arbiter and all that, they wouldn't have been the first ones to abandon. Okay. Interesting. And this also might have been inspiration for, like, the heretic leader and all that, too, in Halo 2. Oh, okay. That's just mean.
Atriox and his Banished raided Covenant resources, cutting a swath across the galaxy, growing in strength with each attack, gathering killers and mercenaries to his side.
Mm-hmm.
The Covenant had two targets in those years: humanity and Atriox. They almost got us. But Atriox, they never came close. The whole damn Covenant couldn't contain him at the height of their power. That's what you're up against. And all you've got is one old ship and half a crew to staff her? We need to run as far and as fast as we
Look,
can.
it's what we got, all right?
We are just one ship. And an old one at that. But here we are. 30 years past what anyone could ask of us. Our war is gone. The lives we had are gone. The worlds we knew have moved on.
It's true.
And now, all that we may have left are those standing beside us. And the duty that defines us. Battle after battle, fighting side by side. Together. Where you see half a crew, Isabel, I see family. Courage. And 1,000 heroes who swore to fight their way through hell before they'd ever turn their backs and run. And where you see one old ship, I see home. And that is always worth fighting for.
Well said. Good job, Cutters.
If we don't stop Atriox now, we leave the galaxy at the mercy of a monster.
Okay, yeah, so we're
You'll know, Isabel. We won't be
sticking around in the context that we don't want to leave this
Sir,
be,
yes, sir.
because he could be just as threatening as the Covenant.
Captain, I appreciate a good rousing speech as much as the next AI. Atriox has had months to set up his forces on the Ark. Even if we could find him, attacking him head-on would be suicide.
That's why we have to fight smart by hitting Atriox's chain of command first.
Okay. Now,
Isabel,
this is the
you know
more
the Banished and
context
their
of the missions
operations here.
themselves.
Where do we start?
Decimus. He's one of Atriox's chief lieutenants and the one who led the attack on my outpost. He oversees a Banished salvage operation near the outpost.
We need to hit the Banished with a surprise attack to put them on their back foot. Then move south and establish an HQ. Once we have a base, we can begin our attack on Decimus.
Captain, Isabel said the portal her outpost was using to contact Earth closed without warning. Once we start this fight, we have no way of calling for help if we need it.
That's what you'll be working on, Professor. I need you to find us a way to get word back home.
Okay.
In the meantime, it's up to us to hold the line here. Let's show them what the Spirit of Fire can do. Listen up.
Okay, I want to talk about that quick. So, just to be clear, I don't know the timeline exactly of I should know this by now. I don't know how long after Halo 5 takes place, after Halo 3, where the portal was open. I think it was something close to like 4 or 5 years, because that's how long Master Chief was adrift in slip space or whatever. So this is like 5 years later or some shit, I think. And so what? The Ark was just open that whole time? Or they found a way to open and close it, maybe? And they used it just kind of periodically? Because the thing with the Ark is like, is it just to, I think this is the same structure that was at the end of Halo 3, is it not? And so, is this really a place you want to stick around? Like, you had all this shit going on. You had the flood. You had all that. It was, it was exploded. Wasn't it blown up? I thought that was kind of the whole point of Halo 3, is that they destroyed the Ark to be a means of destroying the flood without firing the Halo rings. So this is kind of where it throws me off a little bit. I'm going to assume, unless I hear otherwise, that this is the same thing. This isn't like a different Ark. But that based off of this context with like the outpost being there, that they came back and set up shop to study the Ark and its means of like, technology, producing Halo rings and all that, because that was a big part of Halo 3 as well, was like making a new ring, so to speak. So that's interesting. I don't know if this is going to make an appearance then as far as Halo Infinite, but it's interesting to see it come back. I don't know. This is an interesting kind of thing. We haven't seen a lot of context off of Halo 3 specifically, and so directly tying the Ark back to kind of main events again is kind of fascinating, actually. And part of that also makes me wonder about the flood a little bit, but we'll see about that. So let's get back into it here.
Up, team. The Banished are dug in deep and dead set on controlling this installation, and we cannot allow that to happen. Strike one. Your job is to establish a forward base. Expect resistance.
Okay, so this is part of the gameplay of it, is actually getting into things.
You heard
The intelligence we captured at Decimus's base indicates the Banished are using something called the Cartographer. What can you tell us?
The silent cartographer.
The Cartographer is a map of everything on the Ark. That means Atriox could use it to locate key systems and weapons on this installation.
Isabel and I have been going over
Interesting that the Ark has its own cartographer.
But it's not going to be easy.
I guess that makes sense.
The cartographer's defenses make it almost impenetrable. The only way up to it is by a Forerunner elevator. If you can get access to the local Forerunner control towers, I can take control of the elevator and take us up. It's our only chance of getting inside.
We'll have to take it. We need to hit the Banished again before they find out what we discovered at their base. Get to the cartographer and find out what Atriox is planning. Be careful. The Banished may still have traffic moving along the route.
Feels good to have another win, sir.
It may be a bit early for celebrations, Jerome. Let's wait until we find out what Atriox has been planning at the cartographer.
Start log. Senior Chief Petty Officer Alice 130. I managed to make it out of the outpost, and I've been tracking an enemy convoy to one of their compounds.
Oh, so she actually...
They took some of our
Okay,
troops prisoner
yeah.
back there.
She actually ended up
I'm
living.
not gonna leave them behind. I've spotted another abandoned research post, and I should be able to use it to send an encrypted message to the captain. I don't think they're expecting trouble. Time for me to give them some. End log.
Okay.
Only one question, sir. Who are the Banished?
I'll get Isabel to put a briefing package together for you so you can catch up. Good hunting. Professor, once you arrive at the cartographer, you need to find out what Atriox is planning to use it for.
Understood, Captain. Isabel gave me everything the UNSC already knows about the area, and it looks like we'll need to reach the map room. Also, I've been running scans as we get closer. There seem to be large power signatures from the central chamber nearby. It's unclear whether it's Banished or Forerunner in origin. Be careful, Professor. There will be a strong Banished presence. And from what we've seen of the Sentinel defenses, you may have them to deal with too. I'll let Jerome handle the former, but as for the Sentinels, remember that special project we were
So
talking
what's
about
interesting
earlier?
to me is I'm assuming
think it might be
Isabel,
time for a
because
test
of the
run.
way AI's
It's
work
not
is
quite done yet, but
relatively
I'll give it a
new,
shot.
right? Because
I'll
she's
wait for
not
your
going
word from down
crazy
there.
like Cortana.
Good luck.
Shouldn't she know more about everything that's happened, including things about the Forerunners, and be able to like tell them about it? Because like what I figured from Halo Wars 1 was that it delved into those ideas a little bit, but you know, 28 years later, humanity would have learned a lot more about them, and so is Isabel conveying that information to the crew?
Can you open it,
I don't know. I assume
We're in
so.
the right place. Those power signatures I detected in the central chamber must be connected to this energy shield somehow.
Spirit of Fire, we may be here a while.
Atriox's forces are too strong and too well entrenched
Okay,
for us
so
to
there was
fight
a
head-on. But he spread his
mission
troops far and
concerning
wide
like
by
portals
abusing
and
the Ark's
using the
network of
cartographer
portals.
to identify
That's
them
his
to
biggest mistake.
transport around
Thanks
the
to
Ark
information the
faster,
professor got from the
and then a lot of
cartographer,
stuff regarding
we know
Sentinels.
Atriox's key controller for the portal network is nearby. If we destroy it, it'll cripple his ability to use that portal network.
Sure.
Some of Atriox's troops will be stranded, and the rest won't be able to redeploy as easily. It'll give us a fighting chance.
The bad news is that we've detected mass deployment of Banished forces in this area, which means Atriox knows of our plans. The Banished will do everything they can to defend that portal control hub.
Of course he
You'll
does.
need to neutralize each of the portals on the approach to the control hub, or we'll be overrun. To make things worse, our scouts believe Decimus arrived a few hours ago, and he'll be looking for a rematch. Make sure he doesn't walk away from this one.
Now, come on,
Forward to
people.
it, sir.
Spirit of Fire to Alice 130. We have deactivated the Banished portal network. Are you in position?
Okay.
Isabel, I wasn't expecting to hear from you. Where's the captain?
The Spirit of Fire is under heavy attack from the Banished carrier. So he's asked me to be your liaison.
Okay, so they
while he
have a
deals with
carrier
it.
now.
You've made quite an impression on the Banished down there. We're showing signs of massive troop movement your way. Can you hold out while we're dealing with this attack?
Don't worry, Isabel.
Sure.
I've got this one.
Why not?
Good to be working with you. Alice out.
Okay, and this is the actual... there's their actual ship now.
Johnson, get those guns back inside.
Get those hatches closed.
Where are we on that hull breach?
Now, I know Halo Wars... Now, this came out after Halo 5, obviously. I gotta say, it looks really good, though, cutscene-wise.
Captain. Hard to do my best work like this. Can't we fight back? Are we fighting back?
We are,
We're
Professor.
trying.
Let me handle it. You just give me the update on the Ark.
Starboard guns are down. Factory Module 3 has internal fires. Poked the nest, didn't we?
We did. Evacuate and vent. How long can we keep this up?
Not long. We're losing too many guns. At this rate, it'll be over soon. I think I found a way to get help.
Okay.
You can reopen our portal?
No. We're going to make a Halo.
What?
I've discovered the Ark keeps an almost finished ring in its central forges.
Are you sure about that?
It's an emergency replacement in case one of the other rings breaks down.
Rings. You must mean galaxy-destroying super weapons, right?
Well,
Yep.
on that front, I figured out how to disable the ring's firing mechanism. We can only launch it to one of the locations of the original rings, however.
Isabel, you said the Master Chief first found a ring near enough to reach. That would make it within range of a comms beacon. It could work. Anders, how long do you need?
12 hours, if my calculations are correct.
We don't have 12 hours, Professor. We might not have 12 minutes.
Yeah, come on.
Can't beat that.
Time is of the essence here.
I can. I'm gonna need a little help, though.
Explain.
Well, for starters, I need her down there with me.
Isabel?
Sorry, sir. I've been on the Ark a while. After recent battle reports, you should have figured out that there are rules around here. I intend to break one. A big one. We'll need to split ground forces between these two locations to buy me some time.
You're taking control of ground forces now? Buy you time for what?
That ship brought these monsters. Killed everyone I was supposed to protect. Now it wants to do the same to you. I won't let that happen.
That's very kind.
It's time to show them.
I hope you don't fail again, too.
Captain, we're on site of the Forerunner particle cannon we discovered at the cartographer. We've targeted the Banished carrier, and we're ready to fire on your say-so.
Do it. The Spirit of Fire wasn't built to fight a carrier like the Enduring Conviction, and we can't hold it off for long.
We're locked on, Captain. The cannon's not large enough to destroy the carrier, but it will immobilize it and punch a hole through its shields. If we can stay alive long enough.
That's where the second part of Isabel's plan comes in. Jerome, are you and Isabel in place?
Yes, sir. We're making our approach to the Banished base beneath that carrier.
Good. Be ready to get Isabel inside the carrier once its shields are down. Douglas,
this actually is...
can't afford to lose that carrier,
I'm glad
so you'll
that
be
this was
sending all his
compiled the
local
way that it
forces at
was.
you
I'm
to
skipping
stop that
around a
cannon.
little bit, but yeah, this is important. I don't think I would get enough just off of the cutscenes alone. So it's nice having these, like, I don't know if it's after a mission or before a mission or both, but like these briefings. That's nice.
That's a confirmed hit, Professor. The Enduring Conviction is immobilized and not going anywhere. What's the ETA on full penetration of its shields?
Hard to estimate, Captain. This thing didn't exactly come with instructions. I'll draw as much power as I can into the cannon, but we're going to make one heck of a target.
Agreed. Douglas, the Banished carrier is Atriox's biggest weapon and only means of slipstream transport, so he'll be sending everything he can to destroy that cannon.
Here goes. It worked. The shields are down.
Okay.
Nice shooting, Professor. Get ready for extraction back to the Spirit of Fire.
So now it's disabled. Now its shields are
Douglas.
down.
Now get your troops clear. You don't want to be down there when Isabel gets started. Alice, this is Jerome. Isabel and I are making our approach on the Banished base beneath the carrier.
Okay.
Roger that, Jerome. My team is standing by and ready to roll on your say-so.
Good to hear. Once the carrier's shield is down, we'll only have a small window of time to board it via the grav lift. I need your team on standby. In case we run
Oh,
into
we're
any
gonna do the
problems.
classic.
Got your back, Jerome.
It's kind of like
Just worry
Halo
about
2.
getting
We're gonna
there.
destroy it from the inside. Is that what we're getting at?
We're approaching the
I like
LZ for the
that.
grav lift now.
That's it's a tried and true method.
Hold on, we're going down.
No! Fire!
Jerome, this is Douglas. The carrier shield is down and you are good to go. Roger that, Douglas. Now get your troops clear. You don't want to be down there when Isabel and I are finished. That goes for you too, Alice. This is it, Isabel.
Okay, so this is the actual
You ready?
lift itself then.
As I'll ever be.
Watch out, watch the door. Oh. No. It's too late.
Whoa.
Problem?
No. I've just never had fun ringside seats before.
Let's get to work. Our entrance wasn't exactly subtle.
Okay.
Oh, this is cool.
Just need to find their... Got it.
What a fantastic way of showing this, because, like, we've seen this before. Like, Cortana's done shit like this, right? But we haven't actually seen it from her perspective and, like, what that looks like as far as the technology and stuff. Interesting. So what is she doing then? Is she gonna make it go haywire? It's so detailed. It's so gorgeous. I'm actually kind of excited now for Halo Infinite too, because that's even further along. Like, and what? What is that? What does that mean? Oh. Oh, I see what they're getting at. Yeah, yeah. That was her having some trauma or something. What are the Sentinels gonna do? Huh? Oh, they're gonna go after the ship for them. Right? Maybe? Yes. Okay. Okay, so it wasn't quite destruction from the inside. So they started destroying the Ark, and then the Sentinels gotta defend it, as you know, it's part of the programming, I'm sure. Christ, that's a lot of them, though. Holy shit. I wouldn't want to have to deal with that. Like, think about Halo 1 wandering on through the library, and then you come across 10,000 Sentinels. It's like, I don't have that much ammo. It probably better get out of there. Who was in there? What was his name? Jerome? Who's one of them? Okay. Okay. Oh, they just cut it in half. Okay. Well, that's one way to do it, I suppose. Oh, they oh, no.
It's done. Time to go home.
Good job.
Whoa. You've been busy?
Not as busy as you.
The grav lift. What do we do?
You hold on.
Wait, what?
Wait.
Yes, and the AI. We still don't know how she accessed our... How many of your men survived?
He's probably... Yeah, he's pissed. What the fuck? They blew up my stuff. Go get him. Oh no. That's a... You don't want to... What? You don't want to put the Halo ring in front of these fucks. You... Let's... Actually... I wonder how they... I wonder how the Banished feel about it, though. Because they don't believe in the religious stuff, so they wouldn't want to fire it, right?
We lost contact with several of our landing parties on the new Halo ring. Shortly thereafter, we received confirmation of a large Banished invasion.
Okay, so they're starting to go after it, naturally.
The Ark activates access points, so Sentinels can finalize preparations. Atriox must be using these points to send his troops out.
We have to stop the flow of Banished reinforcements getting to this access point.
Sure, so now the mission would be a matter of defending the Halo ring.
Once that's done, we can send our forces up to help clean the Banished off the ring.
And Captain, if I may, please try to limit collateral damage while you're down there. The Foundry is literally the birthplace of the Halos. There's so much we could learn from it about slip space travel, gravitational manipulation, or building the biggest guns the galaxy has ever seen. Just don't blow it up.
That, sir. What are our next orders?
We need you on the installation. We may have stopped the Banished flow of reinforcements, but Atriox already has a sizable force on the ring. Use the access point to get yourself to the ring and set a charge to destroy it behind you. Jerome is already en route. Report to him when you arrive.
Yes, sir. It'll be good to get the whole team back together again.
We've stopped the tide of Banished reinforcements arriving on the ring, but Atriox has already managed to gain a foothold near Alpha Base.
Our troops have been trying to reach the ring's control room, but the routes are cut off by a Banished shield. We've got to get to that control room so I can deactivate the Halo's firing systems and plant our signal beacon.
Okay, right. Yeah, because you don't want it to
we
be...
won't be sending an SOS back home.
Yeah,
We'll be
you're going to be sending a Halo ring. You don't want to do that. We worked very hard to make sure that shit didn't happen. Let's not fuck it up too much, right?
We have to clear the Banished off this ring. It's up to you, Red Team. Professor, what's the update at the control room?
I'm in, and I think I found the Halo's weapon systems. Once I've deactivated them, then I'll place the comms beacon.
Keep us up.
Okay.
Jerome, Atriox will be sending everything to stop us. You need to hold the line and protect the Professor in the control room until she's finished her work.
Won't let you down, sir.
The clock's ticking.
Well, now I know maybe you don't want to like leave behind your ship or something, but if it was a matter of genuine escape, why not get everybody on the ring and then send it on its way, right? With everybody aboard, so to speak.
So we'll help as much as we can from up here.
Okay, everyone.
Maybe whatever. I mean, maybe I'm being naive about it. You can't maybe transport everybody doing that. It'd take too long. I mean, they're in combat. Like I can't. You know, I get it. Okay. So they defended the control room or whatever to do all the plant the beacon and all that shit. What did she do? Set up a shield or something, or? Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah. Maybe.
Hope this works.
What'd she do? Oh, she just sent her. Oh, so long. That's pretty. That's good thinking. Just take off that chunk of the ring. We don't need it. You know. Hopefully we don't. Hopefully those weren't crucial parts to the ring. Ah, fuck it. We're not
Resolve
using
the
it to
respect
fire
part.
anyway.
I don't believe that's an option any longer.
Professor Anders, there must be some way.
Don't worry, Captain. As soon as I'm back to the Sol system, I'll get that beacon out.
Oh, she's going with it.
Professor!
And I can figure out how to get back to you.
You know, I mean, if there
Captain.
was time, why not just fly in there yourself? But I guess they can't move. That's probably
sir.
part of the problem.
ETA to the Spirit of Fire is 5 minutes.
Bring up the map. We have a lot of work to do until she gets back.
Aye, Captain.
Oh, he's pissed. Oh yeah, they're not done yet.
What's happening? Why did we drop out of slip space?
Do they make it? What's...
Oh, good job, Ellen. We may have been safe from the Ark.
Oh no. All right, so there was quite a bit there. Now, I gotta say, I don't know how much that stuff is going to be relevant per se. I got a hunch that the end there probably will be. And the reason is because that's probably the most explicit reference towards Halo 5 is that the fucking Guardians showed up. Thing is like, what exactly is that supposed to... Because when I see that, here's what I gather from that, is that Cortana stopped the slip space that plan from working in some kind of capacity and had a Guardian stop it, right? Or whatever, or like halt it. And like, if this stuff is happening right after Halo 5, my assumption then is that the end of Halo 5, right, where Cortana took all the AIs and all that stuff has also happened. And so, like, is the Spirit of Fire and all that kind of stuff, like, are these people, and is the Ark and this Halo ring, are all these things going to be relevant then getting into Halo Infinite? I could see where that might have a tie-in. Whether or not they do it is that remains to be seen. Here's kind of the problem with all this stuff, guys, is like, the reason I'm even doing this to begin with, the reason I'm watching these cutscenes and why I've watched the terminals and all that kind of stuff is, it's not that it's not interesting in its own right. It is. I would have probably done this anyway. Whether or not I recorded it would maybe be another thing. But like, I would have watched these anyway because this is interesting to me, right? The terminals were fascinating to me. I like getting more information. I think the Halo universe has enough detail, and they've done a really good job with it thus far, that it makes me want to be invested in like the characters and stuff like that. Like, you know, I maintained that the terminals that I watched previously gave such rich context and depth to characters that otherwise didn't have too much to begin with. I got so much more out of them than I was expecting. The thing is with Halo, with all that supplemental information, it's so surprising to me how good it is. Like, they've handled it really well as far as telling a story and building a universe. not a lot of stuff does that very well. And I think for the most part that it's done a good job with it. Here's my problem though. And I had this problem at the end of Halo 5 and reflecting on having played Halo 4 and 5 is that I think they have difficulty connecting the two trilogies together. And I would probably say by extension, Halo Wars, like this is what I'm afraid of, is that Halo Wars 2, the story of this kind of stuff is interesting, and I see where there's a connection leading, between Halo 5 and Halo Infinite. The problem of it is that I'm afraid getting into Infinite that they're not going to use some of this shit. Or they're not going to use shit from the previous games. And the thing is like, that's exactly what Halo 5 did. Outside of the supplemental information, I guess I better specify. Looking at the games themselves, Halo 5 had no connection to Halo 4 virtually at all. And I'm afraid that Halo Infinite is also not going to have any connection to Halo 5 and perhaps Halo 4 as well. That's what concerns me with this kind of stuff. Like the threads that they're introducing, the information, even specifically with the Halo Wars 2 cutscenes and stuff like that, and the context of the story. It seems interesting to me. And it's like, and I've always maintained this, like ever since ODST, that you can tell a good story in the Halo universe outside of the Master Chief and whatever's going on with that. And I haven't played it, admittedly. I don't know what it like, I don't know what the gameplay is like specifically, but I can see from the context and the story elements of Halo Wars that it's probably pretty good. And it does a good job telling its own story, right? What I'm afraid of is that the things that they've tried to push forward, specifically with like the end there, right? This whole plan with the Halo ring and then the Guardians showing up. What I'm afraid of is that they're not going to take those snippets of this story and use them very well getting into the next one, right? With Halo Infinite. And what tells me that's going to happen is because of what happened with Halo 4 and 5. I think that this trilogy has not been a trilogy. Like, Halo 4 was a decent game on its own. Halo 5 was an okay game on its own. But in the context of where each of those things sit as a series of 3 games, they're both bad. That's the problem. They're not building off of one another. They're not connecting to each other. And I'm afraid Halo Infinite is going to follow in the same footsteps. And honestly, part of what makes me think that too is because it's like, how could you not? The third game in a trilogy and the first 2 games didn't have anything to do with one another. It's almost hard to make the last one fit into the other 2 just by default. Like, I almost can't be mad if that ends up being the case, because how the fuck couldn't it be? They did such a strange job in the sequencing of their games thus far that I'm afraid that it's not going to stick the landing. Now, seeing Halo Wars, the information from this, the stuff with the Banished, the stuff with the Halo ring. Now there's another Halo ring flying around somewhere, right? And presumably, in some capacity, if she wanted it, Cortana could use the Guardians and take it. Not that she maybe needs it having the Guardians themselves, but you see this, like, I can start to see where some pieces are there, right? Where maybe this Halo ring is going to play into fighting back against Cortana? Potentially? I guess I'm not really sure, right? And you almost need it because of the Guardians and the threat that they encompass. So, like, there's potential here. This is what pisses me off about Halo, is that they do such a good job setting things up and then they just fucking drop the ball. I don't know. And I'm really hoping that they don't do that with this information, because I think it was really good. I think this is equally as fascinating as the Terminals. It's a different type of story, right? It's not using pre-existing things per se, but it still does a really good job telling its own story. And I think the Banished are fascinating. It seems like they're actually a legitimate threat as their own kind of version of the Covenant, right? And it's cool seeing the Brutes. I know they come back for Infinite. I'm excited to see what that looks like. I think they're a cool enemy. And seeing how these things are going to connect to one another. I didn't get a ton of information regarding the Banished, admittedly, other than like just the basics, that they are this extra faction. it was cool having, you know, having a figurehead like what was it, Atriox? He reminds me of the Arbiter in a way. And so that's a fascinating dichotomy. I'm wondering if they're going to play into that at all, and if this character is going to return or not. Maybe. I'm not really sure. It sounds like he might not, because he's kind of stuck on the Ark with everybody else now that they don't have their ship anymore. So maybe nothing will come from that, but it's still interesting. There's a lot of interesting threads, guys. I don't know what to say. I'm excited to get into Infinite now. I think I'm going to make one more video before I actually get into it. I'm gonna react to the trailers and stuff for Halo Infinite. It's been a while since I've seen it. Maybe there's some stuff that'll maybe give some more context just off of those alone. Obviously, they're not going to go too in depth into the story, so I'm not really worried about spoilers in that regard. But I think I'll do that just to kind of give me hype myself up a little bit before I actually get into the game. I'm very excited to actually finally jump into it, story-wise, gameplay-wise, see how they handle it, see kind of I think, hopefully, the conclusion of this trilogy. God help us if they don't. But yeah, I don't know. A lot of cool stuff. I appreciate you guys' recommendations for this one. This is a good one. I might actually get to Halo Wars. I might actually play Halo Wars eventually too. I think this looks interesting enough. Like I said, not a big RTS guy, so it's not really my genre, but I'm willing to try it, and I think getting something that's related to Halo might be a good first step into it. So that'll be interesting as well. Let me know what you guys think about this. Curious to know your reactions to these cutscenes, kind of the Halo story thus far, where we're at. And if you have any other information that does not reveal too much about Halo Infinite, feel free to drop that as well in the comments. I'll be sure to check that out. That's all I got for this one, guys. Thanks for watching.